New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Good afternoon. We're so happy that you're joining us today. I'm Reverend Joy Fletcher, and some of the ways that I express ministry is as the Divine Science Ministers Association president. I'm a lifetime member of International New Thought Alliance, and I also am an end-of-life educator, death doula, and advanced directive leader.
I'm Reverend Jeff. Nice to see you. Aside from being one of the hosts of Divine Science Everywhere, you'll usually find me on Friday evenings with Reverend Michael Mangus for the Friday Fireside Chat. Again, right here on your media, New Thought Media Network. However, Reverend Michael and I are taking a few weeks off. We're on a hiatus, so we won't be working tonight, and we won't be working next week. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, we'll be back. You can also find me on Facebook at Giatti Ministries, and that's GIATI, standing for God is All There Is.
And I am Durrell Watkins. I am the Senior Minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. I am the current president of the Divine Science Federation. I am the current reigning water polo champion. And I am the manager of a well-known sex toy shop. And I was Miss Subway of 1952. So I'm glad to be, among all those many things, also one of the co-hosts of Divine Science Everywhere, where 2/3 of us are pretty serious most of the time, and where we talk about new thought, tradition, and truth, and metaphysics, particularly in the divine science tradition. Before we get into our topics and our guests and all the things we have going on, let's start out with a meditation, a guided meditation. We do it every week, and it's always led, as will be today, by Reverend Joy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, all those other things I do not really do. That was all kidding.
That's why I laughed. And you weren't even here in 1952, so there you go. Anyhow, today, let us begin by arriving together gently. Allow our bodies to settle. Allow our breath to soften. As we let our shoulders release, relax our jaw, and know that our mind is quiet. It becomes very still. We're staying in the present. There's no need to fix this moment. Instead, the presence right here, right now, is what we're focusing on. Today we take a moment to honor the influence, the energy, and the presence of those who came before us. our spiritual ancestors, our family ancestors, our teachers, known and unknown, those who prayed before us, those who struggled and were challenged before us, those who held faith, sometimes without words, and yet they were listening to their divine guidance, that divine impulse. They were aware of the presence and power of omnipresence. We recognize that we do not stand alone. We, each of us, are part of a living stream of consciousness, a sacred continuity of spirit, expressing through generations. The strength we feel, the faith we lean into, the truth we speak has been carried, nurtured, and revealed over time. In our New Thought tradition, we understand that truth is eternal. It is not created. Instead, it is revealed. And what has been revealed through the pioneers of truth, through the teachings of divine science and other New Thought teachings, through the awakening of the divine within, the Christ consciousness is alive within us now. We have inherited a spiritual foundation. This foundation was built on the recognition of omnipresence, that God is everywhere present, that life is one, and that love is the essence of all that is. And not only do we inherit this truth, we are being called to live this truth right here, right now. We are being called to apply this truth right here, right now. We are called to step into this truth and listen to the divine impulse within us, to not be tossed about through world events, disappointments, things that concern us. Instead, we stand firm in the truth of omnipresence. And yes, each and every one of us are accountable for our part in this cosmic consciousness, this global consciousness. We don't excuse certain behaviors within ourselves or others, and yet we give one another grace. We know that we are accountable, and we choose to do this without hate or this sense of a punitive energy. Instead, through love, firm love, tough love, and yet gentle in our consciousness. We begin within ourselves, honoring the past with choices and the things that we've done up into this moment, and give ourselves grace, and to commit to being different, to respond differently. So as we step forward in this recognition and awareness of the omnipresence within ourselves and within each other, we know that everything and everyone is unfolding perfectly, right here, right now, with compassion, love, grace, and peace. And so it is.
So it is.
Very nice. Before we get to our amazing guest today and all the fun topics that will pop up in natural organic conversation, let me mention some new thought luminaries, part of our amazing history. Some of them you may know about, but sometimes we mention people that you might not know about. The first two today that I want to mention are particularly important to me. They're people I hadn't known about until I discovered them, just sort of stumbled over them and just fell in love with their perspectives and what they had to offer and where they came from. And it's been very empowering and uplifting for me. The first is Rabbi Morris Lichtenstein, born in 1889. He was with us until 1938. And he was building on the ideas of Rabbi A.G. Moses, who believed the healing philosophy of Christian Science was compatible with Judaism and could be offered in a Jewish context. He also found that sometimes just the way that Christians and Christian Science and people who really weren't familiar with Judaism, the way they presented Hebrew scriptures was a lot of times with an anti-Semitic bias, or certainly an ahistorical bias. And so Moses and Lichtenstein both thought that the healing principles could be applied from a Jewish context within the Jewish culture and history and traditions and scripture. So Moses sort of, A.G. Moses sort of came up with this, but it was Morris Lichtenstein who really took it and ran with it. His wife, Tehillah, co-founded with Morris Lichtenstein the Society for Jewish Science. Jewish science sees God as a force or energy, practices visualization and affirmations in its healing work, and believes religion has a role to play in healing of mind and body. Unlike Christian Science, Jewish science does not oppose the use of medicine when it is needed. In fact, since God is omnipresent, God is the source and substance of all that is, God is the divine mind in which we are each a perfect and complete thought, medicine isn't opposed to God. Medicine is one of the ways that God is made manifest, according, of course, to Jewish science. Some of the Jewish science beliefs were, over time, embraced by other branches of Judaism, like the Reform tradition and the Reconstructionist tradition and the Humanist tradition. The Society for Jewish Science still offers services in their own space in New York City. At one time, they had congregations in a few places, including Alabama, but they are still they're still up and running in New York. The next person I want to tell you about, because that was someone from the Jewish tradition who embraced New Thought and Judaized it, and it's still going strong. The other one was an Episcopal priest who did sort of the same thing, Thomas Parker Boyd. Born in 1864, he lived until 1936. He was both a priest and a psychologist. He founded the Society for the Society of the Healing Christ. He believed healing was part of the gospel message and should be practiced by the church. And throughout his life, he prayed for the sick, and they would often recover. He was a member of the International New Thought Alliance. So those are two really great finds, especially for people coming out of mainstream religion. Rabbi Morris Lichtenstein and Father Thomas Parker Boyd will help you understand New Thought metaphysics and also help you understand their place, either coming out of or even staying within mainstream religion. Ralph Waldo Emerson, of course, you'll all know about, born in 1803, lived until 1882. He was a philosopher, a poet, a Unitarian minister, and a leader of the Transcendentalist movement of the early 19th century. And his teachings directly influenced the growing New Thought movement of the mid-1800s. Emerson wisely noted, a person will worship something. Have no doubt about that. We may think our tribute is paid in secret in the dark recesses of our hearts, but it will come out. That which dominates our imaginations and our thoughts will determine our lives and our character. Therefore, it behooves us to be careful what we worship, for what we are worshiping, we are becoming. End quote. Referring to divine unity and omnipresence, Emerson wrote, "The currents of the universal being circulate through me. I am a part and parcel of God." So that that notion of omnipresence, that notion that we are all part of the one thing, this idea that the God of our understanding is really the us of our understanding, and we are becoming that which we hold to be highest and infinite and ultimate. And so if our God is angry, if our God is petty, if our God is tribal, we'll never be better than our God. And so the bigger, the better, the more omnipresent, the more gracious, the more the very power of light and love and being that we can let God be, the more of those things we demonstrate in our own lives. That's super new thought, but it comes right out of the Transcendental movement led by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And then finally, I was going to say something about Hannah More Kohaus, poet and hymn writer, who wrote, of course, The Prayer of Faith, very well known in New Thought churches, particularly Unity. But I think I'll wait for that because it's actually a beautiful prayer. I want to spend some time with it. So we'll wait for that and just end with Emerson. But those are the Unitarian Ralph Waldo Emerson, the Episcopal Thomas Parker Boyd, and the Jewish Morris Lichtenstein, all amazing examples of New Thought philosophy and how our philosophy is not limited to any vocabulary or tradition.
Before we go, let's just do a quick mention of Melinda Kramer, the founder of Divine Science, because tomorrow marks the anniversary of the San Francisco earthquake in 1906 that took out her house, her college, and eventually, I think it was like 4 months later, she passed from injuries that she had received in the earthquake. So that anniversary is tomorrow.
The famous 1906 earthquake. She did survive a few months, but she had already sort of given her imprimatur to Nona Brooks and the Brooks sisters. So when she did make her transition, they were poised to just really take over and continue the movement as the leaders. So not only were they early pioneers, but they were the secondary leaders and co-founders. So yes, it's not only was that sort of the end of Melinda's chapter, it was the beginning of the Brooks sisters chapter in leadership. So that's a good reminder. All right, before we get to our guest and whatever great things he's going to bring to our awareness, I do need to remind you that this is Divine Science Everywhere, and it's on the New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you. Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time, Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
What would Louise say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Well, welcome back to Divine Science Everywhere. I think that we have today scheduled our very first repeat guest. Is that not right?
I think so.
Very first what? Repeat guest? Yes.
Yeah, repeat guest, yeah. Well, let me tell you just a little bit about our guest. He comes from a traditional background. Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart previously served as minister to congregations in Tennessee, Georgia, Louisiana, and held the position of president of Evangel Bible Institute, which is now known as Omega Bible Institute. He began his New Thought journey almost 30 years ago in religious science, and then 4 years later expanded his studies to divine science. He was ordained in divine science through the United Divine Science Seminary in the same ceremony as Bishop Durrell. Dr. Tim's academic background also includes degrees from Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee, Evangel Christian University in Louisiana, and the University of Metaphysics and the University of Sedona. He holds certifications as a hypnotherapist, a hypnotherapy instructor, and a spiritual life coach. His leadership roles have included serving as president of the Divine Science Federation International, where Bishop Durrell is right now, and Tim has also served as the Divine Science Ministers Association president, but currently he's serving as vice president in the Divine Science Ministers Association. He's also president of the International New Thought Alliance. And Tim, welcome to the show. You've been spending a lot of time with INTA because you've had a couple of really fascinating projects going on. How about telling us first about the Addington Archives?
Well, all right. Thank you, Jeff. And thank you for having me back and reading that bio. I was going to say I was really impressed with Bishop Durrell's today. I mean, I was rather disappointed when he told us it wasn't all true. But anyway,
Well, I think the toy shop is believable.
Our Addington Archives, which for those of you who may not be familiar with it, is as far as the different types of media, if you look at all the media we have the largest selection of media, both printed, audio, visual, things like this. We have the largest selection of that, my understanding is, anywhere in the world. And that had been in Arizona for a number of years. And that just became something that was not working for us. And the decision was made, and we moved that to Unity Village. So, and Unity Village is well, I think everybody knows it's quickly becoming like a new thought mecca there. And some people think they're on holy ground where they're there. So it's a wonderful place. It gives us the opportunity to be. We're actually in the same building with Unity's archives, and just about a minute to a minute and a half walk from the Science of Mind archives. So it's really been a great thing to create something now that if someone wants to have the book in their hand, they want to do something other than just be online, they can visit all three of them and go from, if they don't find it in one place, find it in another. And so I think it's just a wonderful thing there. And I remember my first trip into the archives. Blaine Mays was around then, and when he took me into the archives, there was a shelf there with the little white gloves on it. And he was promptly scolded by his sister for not having on his gloves or giving me mine. But we had a chance to look at books and to see books that, in one case, one that had Thomas Troward's personal handwriting in a margin. I've seen notes like that that had Nona Brooks in the margins. It's an amazing thing. So
one of the prizes in my collection is one of Fenwick Holmes' books that he had signed.
Wow.
And I found it for a song on eBay, believe it or not. So
I'm just really curious about this. So pardon me for being the one asking the question. When did you pick that up?
Let's see. We've been in this house
Shortly after it was published, right?
Well, I mean, has it been in the past 3 or 4 years, or it's been longer than that?
It's been about 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay. It was. I was going to say, because I was wondering if somehow some of our dear friend J. Scott Neal, if some of his collection may have, because Fenwick was Jay's teacher.
Right.
Okay. And for those of you who may not be familiar, if you're my background includes, of course, a few years longer in religious science before I found divine science. J. Scott Neal was just a legend in religious science. So if anybody's not familiar with him, so a lot of great treasures like that.
How did the Addington Archives come to be?
The archives were already a project in INTA. They'd already started sort of keeping materials and having what one might call a library, and they eventually turned that into an archives.
Mm-hmm.
It got the name Addington Archives. Jack Addington, who was a religious science minister, donated a lot of the money to build the building and to set it up. And they began collecting everything. And it actually was at one time at Unity Village before it was moved to Arizona, because INTA started the collection and it grew and they didn't have a place to put it. So it was actually in at Unity Village and then moved to Arizona, and now it's back at Unity Village.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Approximately how much is in the inventory? How many books, tapes, do you know offhand?
Joyful. I know that the omniscience of God is absolutely within me, but you asked me a question that I really don't know.
Before that, I know it was at Unity, and I know it was at INTA in Mesa, and those back at Unity. Wasn't there a time that was also at Southern Methodist University in Dallas?
You are, I think, correct on that. I can't swear.
I don't remember when, but I remember. It seems like for some reason and for some time, it was actually a major university in Dallas.
Yeah. And there was one time a move to try to get it relocated back over into Texas, back in the early 1990s. But that didn't go anywhere. It stayed in Phoenix. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we are currently looking at a digitization project as well. So that's really a huge thing.
That'll be good. That'll be good, especially for people who aren't able to get to Unity Village to actually lay hands on some of the materials, to be able to find them online. That would be awesome. What a great way to spread our teaching.
And for those that don't know, Unity Village is in Missouri, and it's close to Kansas City. And Unity and INTA have an agreement to store the Addington archives there, and we are leasing some space, and a beautiful space has been created, and it's so many things are displayed beautifully, and old photos as well as portraits of some of the early founders. It's just beautiful.
And I will mention, for those of you, I don't know if we have listeners that are familiar with the archives and ever saw it, but at our building in Mesa, there was this beautiful stained glass window, and it was actually created for the space in that building where it was. And we decided, our board decided that that was such a symbol and so associated by a lot of people with the archives, that we would remove it from that building, transport it to Unity Village. And it is now got a special casing or frame there, and it's on display in our entrance, main first room you come into when you go into the archives.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody happens to be going up there around, the first week of May in particular, when we have our conference, it would just be great. Stop by and take a look. It's gorgeous, and we brought a lot of things like that remind us of our history. And I noticed someone made a comment about loving books and getting them into circulation. And while we don't allow people to check it out, it's an archive, it's not a library, but it is absolutely something that we feel that if we can get that digitized, it opens it up to so many more people. And a lot of challenges with doing that, because it goes beyond the books, even to the tapes. But we're on the road. We've made some decisions and doing some more research on it. And also, we've reached an agreement with the affiliated New Thought Network, INTA. So they have some archival material, and they are going to be in that space, have their things in that space, and we've reached an agreement to let them have some space there.
And we've had a discussion with Divine Science too. So
we have, and I was going to say, because that would just absolutely thrill me to have Divine Science there as well,
mm-hmm.
and all of their things. So we're just open, because it's about everything New Thought.
Yes.
We're in the process. DSFI is in the process of digitizing right now. Also, and I would love for the hard copies, once we're done with that, to live somewhere like on the same farm with all the other New Thought puppies. I mean, I think that would be amazing.
Yes.
I don't know, something about puppies going to a farm brings back a memory that maybe we don't want to live in that quite.
Oh yeah.
But
yes.
we would love that, because as you've often said, Durrell, that metaphysics, New Thought, we have so much that's in common, that when you know it and you get it, you get it. So INTA is really trying to do that bridge of being there, and it's unfolding in this way that, again, we get Divine Science there. That puts Divine Science, Unity, Religious Science, and INTA all right there within a few feet of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So exciting.
It is exciting. And to preserve all of that rich history and teachings, and it's wonderful. It really is. And to honor our spiritual ancestors, that's something that is really important to me. To not be stuck back there, but to honor them and recognize their contributions, which led to where we are right now.
Divine Science, founded by women. Homes of Truth, founded by women. Unity, co-founded by a woman.
And she had her healing first, so then Charles decided.
Really was sorry about her, exactly. And we, of course, our cousins, like the Fox sisters, women in the spiritualist movement. And Tila Lichtenstein, Morris Lichtenstein's wife, was the co-leader of the Society for Jewish Science. And then when he died, she led the movement and the society, the shul, the congregation, making her the first Jewish woman to have her own pulpit in the United States. She wasn't a rabbi, she was a layperson, but she was the first Jewish person to have her own pulpit in the United States, and she was New Thought. So that's, plus some of the early New Thought women were suffragettes and supporting of that movement. And then I remember in the early days of the AIDS crisis, it was often New Thought churches offering healing treatment from the beginning, when there was nothing else and no hope and no medicine and a lot of judgment. And I remember licensed teachers and licensed practitioners and New Thought ministers not being afraid to touch people and visit with people and pray with people and affirm the possibilities that everyone else was saying didn't exist. And so I think of New Thought as being sort of progressive and on the side of justice and inclusion and empowerment and growth and healing. That was news to a lot of people. A lot of people thought it was just for personal enrichment, to get the raise, to get the promotion, to get your personal healing. But I think our tradition is very egalitarian and very inclusive. And so I would like to, and it seems like more and more people are embracing that. I see more justice-oriented stuff from CSL than I ever did, 20 years ago. And I remember someone saying, well, we were challenged at a Selamar one year to get off our meditation cushion and actually be, the answers to our prayers, actually be the thing in the world. And so I'm wanting Dr. Stewart to comment on that, because I know there's a panel coming up at a conference that's talking about social justice. What is the New Thought place in justice work? We're a healing movement, but social ills also need healing. So where are we with that?
Well, we are, first, I'm going to back up and comment, because what you saw when you came around and first started seeing New Thought, and especially, as you said, during the AIDS crisis and things like that, if we weren't teaching social justice, we weren't talking about it in that sense, but we did teach as I call it, absolute monism, oneness. There is only God, there's only one thing. So therefore, and in divine science, we use the term omnipresence. We don't just say God is omnipresent, but God is omnipresence. That meaning is, if there is presence anywhere, God is all of it. So when I look and I see you sitting there, Durrell, it's not Durrell's presence, but it's God as Durrell there. And as we get that consciousness growing in us, all right, and for lack of a better word, an enlightened consciousness, the seeds of racism cannot grow in it. The seeds of homophobia cannot grow in it. And that is what you were seeing. And as that has evolved, we found a way of now beginning to speak up and to become active. We're at a place in our country that I don't think has ever been seen. I know it's never been seen in my lifetime here, and I don't think it's ever been seen. So it's at a time now that we have to realize, if something is happening to a minority or of any group in this country, it's happening to me. So it's not just a thing of recognizing it, but now that you recognize it, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make that part of your life? And as I tell people all the time, and Durrell, you and I have known each other for years, and a lot of a lot of things I could say, because you not only have my respect naturally, just because you're another expression of God there, but you've earned that. And I tell people, when I go to the voting booth, I don't just think of me, but I have to understand, am I voting for someone that's going to be for the good of everybody? That includes the LGBTQ community. That includes people of color. That includes people who are here regardless of where they came from. So I think we're getting to that point to realize we can't just be these people that talk about it, but we have to now take it and let it energize us and let our consciousness give us inspired action of how to bring that about. And now you've had your Sunday sermon, but it is something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah,
Take your.
Don't say a prayer you're not willing to be the answer to. So if we're going to pray for peace, we have to be peace. If we're going to pray for justice, we have to be the conduits of justice. And so what God does for us, God does through us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I realize, and sometimes people think they're getting too much into politics and mixing their religion. And pardon me, I may be getting a little off of divine science everywhere, but I don't think so. If you look at something just like this, very public now, feud with the Pope. Right. And the vice president said, well, he needed to stick with morality and things like that. Threatening to destroy a civilization, there's nothing that's more immoral. There's nothing that's more depraved than that type of a threat. So it's absolutely our place to speak up and to be vocal and to say, when you're threatening like that, you are crossing over into a realm that I absolutely have a right to comment.
Exactly. If God is all there is, and God is love, and our behavior is in defiance of love, is in denial of love, then the loving thing is to say that. I mean, when people say, "Oh, you need to stay out politics," what they're saying is, "You need to shut up because you're offending me or you're making me uncomfortable," and I'm not falling for that. It's not a partisan issue to say that war is not the best option. It is not a partisan issue to say that no matter where people come from, we all share this planet. We belong to it. It belongs to us all equally. We need to find a way to take care of each other and to let everyone be. If that is political rather than spiritual, then screw spirituality, give me politics. But it's actually the spiritual thing to say we care about people. And if God is really all there is, if we're each an expression of God, how are you treating God? And some of us are not treating God in a way that shows any sort of reverence for the divine.
Yeah. And people seem to have forgotten. They keep talking about how Jesus was not political. Well, Jesus was political. He stood up against Rome. He stood up against the man. And when he
died from a political execution. Hello.
Yeah, exactly. He was murdered by the state. He was expected to return, and when he was expected to return, he was going to overthrow everything. That was the thought anyway. So to say that we cannot be spiritual and be political doesn't go together.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not impressed with any of the parties, so I'm not interested in being partisan, but because none of them are good enough. But in my opinion, I mean, I'm sure they're all wonderful, really. But when it comes to the rubber hitting the road, how are we treating people? How are we allowing people to be treated? And they say, well, if you speak up, that's political. But guess what? Silence is also political. Silence is complicity. Silence is saying that whatever's going on, I endorse or are okay with. So there's no getting around it. And I would rather be accused of being political for standing up for love, decency, morality, inclusion, than for staying silent and just letting horrible things happen.
I think we also, we need to question that. How do we want people to remember us? Do we want them just, he had a lot of good ideas, or, she did this, or that we actually did something for people? You've talked about, how we're treating other people. There's and I can't quote it exactly, but it's my understanding actually from the Quran that says that if I hurt another human being, I am harming all of humanity. And if I am kind to another human, I'm being kind to all of humanity. We have got to embrace that, and then not just talk about it, but begin to so put that to work that people they see that in our actions. They have to see it in our actions, because people do not care many times what you say. They want to know, how are you going to act? How are you going to treat me when a situation arises? Are you really going to be there? So I believe New Thought has gone through a phase of being very active. When you talked about the suffragettes, small fact I'll throw in here, people may not realize this, but one time there was a person who was running for vice president of the U.S. who announced their candidacy at an INTA conference, by the way.
See?
But all of these things we're talking about, it is really about living what we say we believe. And if you believe the floor will hold you up, you're not afraid to walk on it. And if you believe these teachings are the support of your life, you're not afraid to live the way that they teach, and that includes standing up for others.
We call ourselves New Thought, and that sounds very intellectual. Like, we think about things. We're very cerebral, and we know stuff, or we're trying to know stuff. But New Thought is also new feeling, and a broader feeling, and a more inclusive sort of feeling, because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so part of our new thoughtness needs to be about caring more deeply about more kinds of people. And shorthand word for that is justice. Another word for that is love. Another word for that is compassion. And so, I'm excited to see, and even people that would never ever talk about in a public way about social issues, I'm seeing on social media, religious science, divine science, unity, people really being pretty vocal these days, and sometimes being challenged, like, "Oh, you're stepping out of your lane." I'm not sure about that. I think anytime you're loving people and trying to heal people who've been hurt, I think that is completely our lane. I think that's why we're here.
Absolutely. When you were talking about Jesus a moment ago, the Great Mission was about healing and bringing healing to the nations. So therefore, so that's absolutely not just a command to the church overall, but I believe to every individual who embraces any type of spirituality. I think that comes natural, that we want to have that thing of somehow making life a greater expression of love and peace and health and happiness and healing, whatever that might be.
Right. And Tim, you alluded a little bit ago, a couple of times it was brought up about the INTA and Congress. And there's an INTA Congress coming up in a couple of weeks, right?
Just a couple of weeks. It's May 4th to May 8th. It is at Unity Village this year. We have decided, the board has decided that in even numbered years, that our Congress will be held at Unity Village, and in odd numbered years, we will go to other locations. So it will be at Unity Village. It will be May the 4th through the 8th. And we, for years, we're always in the third week of July. We've also made a decision that after this one is over, we will always be the first full week of June. And the way that's worded is to make sure that Memorial Day weekend isn't the weekend that we are trying to get people to travel to the Congress. So we're going to have it there. We're going to have some exciting speakers, including Bishop Durrell Watkins, for one. And so it's special presentation, grand opening of our archives. So we'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony for that. Everybody will get a chance to tour it. We'll have some gifts we'll give to people. And if you haven't yet, we still have availability. Short window to be making travel plans, but if you want to make them, or if somebody's hearing and you know somebody that's in the Kansas City area, definitely have them come. And if they are working, can't come in the day, our evening services are open to the public and free.
Because it's in the center of the country, it's drivable for a lot of people. If for some reason the hotel at Unity Village is full, there are other ones very nearby. And so I mean, there's ways to make this happen, and it's certainly worth the effort. the gardens, the chapels, the energy. It's where people have prayed 24/7 for over a century. I mean, it's you feel it. You feel it.
Absolutely. And
that's
they have done a new outdoor labyrinth there. There was one prior, but now there's a new one. And I've had the opportunity to walk that a few times. But we will be doing a labyrinth walk while we're there.
Love it.
It's going to really be a lot of fun. We do our banquet, which this year, again, this is my last year as president. So I've got from now until I think it's about May the 8th, probably, or something like that, May the 7th or 8th. And then I will be the immediate past president of INTA. And somebody asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a month or two and rest. Then we'll go from there.
Yeah, because you do an awful lot of traveling with all the things that you do. And you were going back and forth from Tennessee to Arizona quite frequently.
Yes.
That was part of the move. And I added up, and it came to a point of not being out there for several weeks. I was out there for a few months out of 2024 and 2025. So it's I'm kind of looking forward to not being forced to do that, but going when I want to go.
Well, and I saw Reverend Michael had put up the INTA page as well as the website. And if you could do that again, we could let everybody know how to find us, INTA. I'm a lifetime member. And if you're interested in joining or going to the Congress, it's all there. It's newthoughtalliance.org.
I think we're all on this panel. I think we're all lifetime members, life members. And I also need you to know, if you are in, because Divine Science Federation, one of their ministry training schools is the Samaritan Institute. And we've got stuff. We teach in various ways: mentoring, individualized studies, correspondence studies, classes on various campuses. I mean, we have lots of ways of doing it. And if you are in the Tennessee area, Dr. Stewart is a faculty member, and he can set up mentoring classes with you, just one-on-one, you and him. And when he says you're ready, then you are. And you get credit for all the work that you do with him. So enjoy the same way in Michigan. So we have a guest today that that if you're in the Tennessee area or can Zoom or phone call with him, we've had several people do pass through the Tim Stewart Institute, and
including Jeff.
He's a very popular teacher, and in fact, that's how we got Reverend Jeff. Exactly.
Yeah. He caught me at a weak point at the New Thought, the INTA Congress in Nashville in 2019, and he said, "You really need to do this." And so I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it was an awesome experience.
Another thing about Samaritan is if you have credits already from Anton, from Unity, from CSL, from Hillside, from any New Thought organization, we take them. So if you're already a New Thought student, you don't start from scratch. We take you where you are and then take you from there, and can even do that with a lot of independent study and personal mentoring. So anyway, if you were thinking about it, you've got folks right here to connect with. And speaking of connection, we need to connect with our parent organization right now. So I need to remind you, this is Divine Science Everywhere, and we are the New Thought Media Network.
Come expand your spiritual journey. Join us for Just the Talk, Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Experience Unity Kitchener and Ottawa. Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. Center for Spiritual Living Denver. Unity of Garden Park. New Thought Philadelphia. The Sunshine Cathedral. Unity of Savannah. And the Ohm Center for Spiritual Living. Come unleash your spiritual potential with New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back. Again, we're so grateful that you have chosen to spend your time with us. And if you'd like, you can like and subscribe to this channel and share it so others may enjoy our teachings. Next week's guest is to be announced. And the following week, May 1st, we're hosting Cynthia Lucas, who is a producer of many documentaries about Gandhi and his wife Kasturba, and they have been presented on PBS. So she will be with us and talk about her next project, which is part 2 for Kasturba Gandhi. So until next time, this is Divine Science Everywhere, in all, through all, as all. And we're on New Thought Media Network. See you next time. Thank you.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents A Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Only on the New Thought Media Network.